Hi, welcome to my second episode of Animator breaks down the personalities of...
Quack, quack, quack! Quack, quack, quack! Quack! Why isn't he quacking?
This video is for artists who are hungry for inspiration and accountability, people who are interested in how movies are made, and for anyone who is looking for a good story. Today we'll be breaking down the personalities of Dipper and Mabel from Gravity Falls. Instead of taking the personality test like I did last time, I watched episodes of the show and just tried to break down the personalities myself, and this is what I came up with. For Dipper, I believe that he is an ISTJ, otherwise known as a logician. A logician. A logician.
Logistician.
Logistician? Logistician. That word's hard to say. Before I show these clips, spoiler warning if you haven't seen the show. Let's go through trait by trait.
It's for the way you...
I chewed my gum so it looks like a brain. Blah.
She's not much for first impressions. Unlike this guy. This guy.
These things are outlawed in 9,000 dimensions. If I rolled it, anything could happen.
Oh, man. And then, if I had a dragon here, and then a +3 fire move...
Dipper, are you gonna go to sleep? You've been saying dork words for hours.
Sorry, Mabel. I gotta finish this dungeon. It's gonna totally stump Great Uncle Ford tomorrow. I can't wait to see the look on his face.
So I have him as 60% introverted. My reasoning for that is he doesn't seem to be very exhausted by hanging out in groups of people, but it is very clear that he prefers to hang out with someone one-on-one, like one of his uncles or his sister. And there's that one clip where he was very energized. He was up in the middle of the night sitting alone, working with graphs for this game that he's planning on playing with his uncle, which means he is gaining enough energy from that to not want to go to sleep. So I think that's pretty strong evidence that he's an introvert. But like I said, not a crazy amount of introversion, just 60%. Next is S.
It's for the way you...
It's my favorite fantasy-talking, level-counting, statistics and graph paper involving game of all time. Dungeons, dungeons, and more dungeons! Do you want to play it with me?
How do you play?
The rules are simple. First, you roll a 38-sided die to determine the level of each player's statistical analysis power orb. These orbs relate directly to the amount of quadrants that your team has dominion over, which is inverse to the anti-quadrants in your quadrant satchel.
And then we ride unicorns?
Yes! And no. First, we make a graph.
This is like homework the game.
Come on, Mabel. I need at least 2 people to play.
Okay, so I have him as 80% S, 80% sensing, which means he's very present and data-driven. The downside to this is he may not be able to pick up new pieces of data as well as an N personality type would. The evidence I just showed you of this is that episode where he's very excited to play basically Dungeons and Dragons, and he can't find anyone to play with, and he finally finds another kindred spirit in one of his uncles to play this game. And it's all about graphs and charts and math and statistics and all of that stuff that I personality types really find engaging, and it's about evidence that is tangible and measurable. The next trait is T.
It's for the way you...
I can't believe it. You're the author of the journals.
You've read my journals?
I haven't just read them, I've lived them. I've been waiting for so long to meet you. I don't know what to say. I have so many questions. I think I'm gonna throw up. No, false alarm. Just gotta write it out.
Okay, so T, what we saw on that clip is this is the first time he's meeting an uncle that he never knew about, which turns out to be the author of these journals he's been following all summer and trying to figure out who the author is. So this is a family member he didn't know about. So his first reaction is not emotional. It is excited about learning more about data and learning more about how things work and strategies. This is what he's excited about. So an F personality type, when it comes to having someone that you care about going through a hard time, an F personality type Their first impulse is to console them, try to make them feel better, and feel that they're not alone and that everything's going to be okay. But a T personality type, their first impulse is to try to solve the problem. So it's both driven with compassion, where an F personality type would say, hey, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's get some comfort food, where a T personality type would go straight to results, and their second impulse would be to comfort them. A T personality type is commonly misunderstood as being unfeeling, but in reality, T personality types are focused on results. So they may be feeling deeply and they have a family member with a big problem and they really, really want to help them. They want to get results for them. They want to help them solve the problem. So the last personality trait for Dipper is J.
It's for the way you
Go, 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 go. Dipper.
What? Yes, yeah. Can't believe it. All this time, the author's secrets were hiding in plain sight. A whole new chapter of mysteries to explore.
A J personality type is someone that makes lists and is scheduled and consistent and has a plan, which I feel Dipper is somewhere around 80%, maybe a little lower, maybe 75. So the evidence that I showed you there is him looking through the journal to make a plan because he has more data. So he's in the beginning phase of planning, and him making a list, which is kind of a fake list that he was writing close to a girl he likes. So that's Dipper. Let's move on to Mabel. Mabel is an ENFP, otherwise known as a campaigner. Mabel is an extrovert, and I put her down as 90% extrovert. And here's the proof for E.
It's for the way you
We're doing a karaoke bonanza, people! Lights, music, enchantment! And an amazing karaoke performance by our family band, Love Patrol Alpha!
Well, I don't know
I would
about
never
that.
agree to that ever.
Too late! I wrote your names on the list. It's happening. The paintings airbrushed on the sides of vans were true!
To moving on.
So those clips I just showed you, I feel prove that Mabel is an extrovert, and extremely extroverted. In the show, they're off at a camp for the summer, and she immediately surrounds herself with a medium-sized group of friends, and seems to get a bit restless when she's alone. The next personality trait that she has is N.
it's for the way you
This is it! Zombies have a weakness. Previously thought to be invincible, their skulls can be shattered by a perfect three-part harmony. Three-part harmony? How can we create that? I have a naturally high-pitched scream.
I can make noises with my body, sometimes intentionally.
Boys, I think you're both missing the obvious solution.
So that clip shows her intuitive trait because in this scene, they're all trying to solve a problem, and Dipper is too present and is in the moment and trying to think of his immediate surroundings to solve the problem, where Mabel is thinking about the party that just happened and that they had a karaoke machine, which helps them solve the problem of this zombie invasion. She's about 80% N. Her next trait is F.
it's for the way you
Oh, this story's so sad. I know what you two little broken teacups need. To hug it out. Hug it out. Hug trains coming to the station.
And he doesn't make fun of me all the time the way you and Grunkle Stan do.
Give him time. Hey-oh. Nah, you got me. You got me.
Which I gave her about 70% because she's still a little bit of a thinker. So in that first clip, the same scene where Dipper shows that he's a thinker, Mabel shows that she's a feeler. Conflict arises between the two uncles and they start arguing with each other and show their dramatic past and childhood. Mabel's first instinct is to try to help them reconcile and hug it out. So I think that's clear proof that she's an F. But in that second clip, it shows Dipper expressing that he feels misunderstood by her and her uncle. And her first reaction is to make a joke out of it, which is why I think she is 70% feeling rather than 90 or 95. But in that same clip, she does realize that she hurt her brother's feelings, and she seems upset by that fact. Feelers are often perceived as being too emotional by thinkers, but in reality, a team, a family, a group of people working together, if everybody is feeling positive and emotionally fulfilled, then they can work at their peak of abilities. Let's move on to her last trait, which is P.
It's for the way you.
Random dance party for no reason! Go, 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 go!
This game involves math, but also risk and imagination. Risk?
Imagination? Gurgle Stan, make something up. It's just like lying. I cast Giggle Time Bouncy Boots! Hot Wavy Sword! Super Hot Wavy Sword! I cast Centaur! Yeah!
So P personality traits are very random, spontaneous, and open to new data. 85% perceiving trait. And I feel that that's accurate because of those clips that I just played, where it shows her being very spontaneous with the dancing and very random and thinking out of the box when playing this show's version of Dungeons and Dragons. She thinks very creatively and out of the box. I picked these two characters. I feel they're interesting. All of their personality traits contrast. They do have conflict, but they resolve them because they attempt to understand each other and respect each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I think this is the case because they're twin siblings, so they have a deep bond with each other, but they're extremely contrasted at the same time. Because they take the time to understand each other, they're able to accomplish great things in this show. And also by having contrast in characters, it naturally provides opportunity to give your characters flaws. If you have a character that has every personality trait, they're both extroverted and introverted, sensing and intuitive, thinking and feeling, judging and perceiving, then the audience won't be able to believe it because everybody in real life has strengths and weaknesses. In the previous episode, I talked about character, which is people grafting skills they didn't have onto their personality. But that's not an excuse to make a flawless character. You usually want to show people's character through a character arc. So maybe in the beginning of the story, they're closer to just what their personality is. And then through the arc of the journey, they learn the skills to make them more rounded as a character. But you don't want to make any character 100% perfect because then they would just be boring to watch because it's not believable. This show does a really good job of providing an opportunity for all of their characters to show their strengths and weaknesses through the plot. At one moment, Mabel will shine, and at the other moment, Dipper will shine. And that's just those two characters. There's an entire cast of characters, and they all work together beautifully. So if you haven't seen this show, I really suggest watching it. So that's it for this episode. Did I get these personality traits right? Could I have improved in some way? Leave a comment, I'd like to know. If you have a friend that's interested in this personality conversation, please share. And if you're wanting to learn more about animation and get a peek behind the scenes, click here for my Anim Vlog series, where I do time-lapse and commentary of my animation process while working on my short film, Long Distance. Hi guys, I forgot to mention when I was recording before that we've had a lot of growth on this channel since I started uploading consistently. Right now we're at 41 subscribers and it'd be awesome if we could get to 50, so if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.